Welcome back to the Professor's Lab. I'm Professor V, and this is round 1 of our League Challenge that happened at Die Hard Games on February 13th, 2025. If you didn't know, Die Hard League happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, featuring casual and tournament play of whatever format everyone wants. Pokemon Day celebration and switch deck between rounds if you want tournament, February 27th at 6 p.m. Journey Together pre-releases start March 15th at 1 p.m. and League Cup March 29th at 12 p.m. All Central Time, all at Die Hard Games. Go see more info in this video's description and check out Pokemon's event locator for premiere and other events at the shop, such as League Challenges, League Cups, pre-releases, and more. Please hit that like button right quick, subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications, say what you need to say in the comments, and all that other good free stuff. But anyways, let's research this game. On the left, Charizard. On the right, Festival Lead with Fuecoco in the active spot, and our Festival Lead player is going first on the right hand side here. It looks like they just drew and pass, or was that a mulligan? It kind of just looks like a draw and pass on the right. And then our Charizard player kind of does the same thing here. They draw a card, don't see anything else to play, so then they just use a Rotom's instant charge ability to draw 3 cards and end the turn. Play resumes back over on Fuecoco's side currently here. And we'll see if they are able to play a supporter. Arvin is a supporter for a turn here that allows them to search their deck for an item and a tool card. Looks like they're going to go for the combo Precious Trolley, their A-Spec item card, and Technical Machine Evolution as the tool card. Next we will see that Precious Trolley being played, allowing the player on the right to search their deck for any number of basic Pokemon to put onto their bench, so they can find up to 5 dudes from their deck to add to their bench. Double Goldeen, Double Grookey, and backup Fuecoco are found and rolled onto the bench in an emergency with this Precious Trolley here. So the board is set up after that draw past turn 1, assuming that's what happened. If I saw things correctly with my eyes here, let me know in the comments your thoughts or what's actually going on. And that's about all the player on the right needs to do this turn, is set up their board and pass things back over to our Charizard player, who draws a card, evolves their Pidgey on the bench into Pidgeotto, and then they have a rare candy in hand that allows them to evolve that Charmander on the bench straight into that Charizard EX, activating its ability Infernal Rain. When you evolve, you can search your deck for up to 3 basic fire energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So maybe we can see, well, we're for sure going to see 2 go on to the bench Charizard EX. There's 1 fire energy in hand, so we don't need to put all 3 of them out, 1 of them out on the Rotom to retreat, for example, if that's what the player wants to do this turn, so that way they can attack since they have the energy attachment in hand. But just depends on what's in deck and the player's strategy, of course, as they take a look at their hand and see what's the next card to play here. They haven't played a supporter yet, so an Iono could be a play that they go for here. It looks like they're going to attach the energy to the active Rotom in order to pay retreat. It retreats into the Charizard EX, and that Charizard's ready to attack, but not before an Iono is played as a supporter per turn, having both players shuffle their hands, put them at the bottom of their deck, and then draw cards from the top equal to their remaining prize cards. Both players will get 6 from the top in this case, since we are at the beginning of the game here. The KO is on board here. Fuecoco is a fine target to knock out since there's 2 copies of every Pokemon on the other side of the field. Next, a Duskull gets put onto the bench, as well as a Budew and a backup Charmander. So looking okay for our Charizard player on the left-hand side here in this early game. Nothing else to do but Burning Darkness for 180 damage, KOing the Fuecoco across from it and taking the first prize. Godine promoted into the active spot on the right-hand side, and play resumes there, with that Golding evolving instantly into the Seaking. Now the Festival Grounds Stadium card gets put into play. That stadium says each Pokemon that has energy attached to it, both yours and your opponent's, recovers from all special conditions and can't be affected by special conditions. Very good effect, but that Festival Grounds is mostly in here, I think, in order to activate the Festival Lead's Pokemon's abilities. The Seaking, for example, has the Festival Lead ability that says the Festival Grounds is in play, that stadium card we just talked about. This Pokemon may use an attack that it has twice. Of course, side note, if the first attack KOs your opponent's active Pokemon, you may attack again after your opponent chooses a new active Pokemon. Seaking has the Rapid Draw attack for colorless energy. It does 60 base damage, and then you draw 2 cards. So let's see the combos stack up for our Festival Lead player as they next put Arven into play, the supporter for turn, allowing them to search their deck for an item card and a tool card. So they are assessing the board, also potentially explaining their deck strategy to their opponent, because we haven't run into this deck much, at least at our local league here. This is its breakout performance here at the League Challenge today. So definitely cool stuff to see, and always a good thing to learn new things. Expand your brain. As they search their deck for an item and tool card off of this Arven supporter here. Looking at their hand, trying to better inform their decision of what 2 cards to grab, the perfect 2 cards to grab off of the Arven. Eyeing up the Counter Catcher, which is live currently since the opponent has fewer remaining prize cards. Looking like they are going to go with the Counter Catcher as the item and the Technical Machine Evolution as the tool. I don't know if they're going to use Evolution this turn, maybe just grabbing it to thin the deck as they bench another Grookey. Got the energy, so they've got an attack if they want to go that route. But we'll see what the player decides to do here, and it actually looks like they will be going for an evolution turn, attaching that Technical Machine Evolution and a basic fire energy to the active Seaking. Now, I guess this would be a good time to explain the interaction with Festival Lead and Technical Machines. The Festival Lead ability that Seaking, for example, has says, if the Festival Grounds is in play, this Pokemon may use an attack it has twice. It's very important it says that, because though the Technical Machine Evolution gives Seaking access to the evolution attack printed on that Technical Machine, technically Seaking does not have that attack, if that makes sense. Either way, that's what the ruling is right now. So a Counter Catcher is played in order to bring up one of the opponent's bench Pokemon, into the active spot. Duskull is targeted there to come into the active spot to stall just a little bit for this evolution turn, as Seaking now used the evolution attack that Technical Machine tool gave it access to in order to evolve 2 bench Pokemon. 2 Grookey evolve into Thwackey here with the Boom Boom Groove ability. We'll explain that whenever it becomes relevant, as the opponent now starts their turn on the left-hand side, attaching an energy to the active Duskull, so that way it can retreat. I'm pretty sure they'll correct the Duskull going to the discard pile here shortly. But Duskull retreats manually into that Charizard EX. Charizard EX does have the KO on the opposing Seaking right now. And it looks like that's what they're going to go for. 180 damage to the opposing Seeking, knocking it out for another prize card. Goldeen swims into the active spot on the right, and play resumes there. Now we can talk about the Thwackey and the Boom Boom Groove ability. That reads, once during your turn, if your active Pokemon has the Festival Lead ability, these Goldeen and Seeking do, you may search your deck for a card and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And each Thwackey can use its ability once, let's just say. So far they can search for 2 cards on this turn. So crazy. But first they're going to play a Buddy Buddy Poffin. That allows them to search their deck for, in this case, 1 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less to put onto the bench. Backup Goldeen is found with that Poffin put onto the board. You definitely want to keep your main attacker streaming as best as you can, as just a fundamental strategy in the Pokemon trading card game normally. Next, a Fire Energy gets attached to the active Goldeen, and an Iono gets played. That has both players shuffle their hands, put them at the bottom of their deck, and then draw cards equal to their remaining prize cards. The player on the left will get 4 here, the player on the right will get 6. Spoiler alert, the player on the left draws 6 cards here off of the Iono instead of the 4 that they should have. Neither player caught it. It will get corrected and addressed later in the game, but for the sake of the video now, we'll just move forward. As our player on the right continues their turn, the Festival Lead, now activating that first Thwackey Boom Boom Groove ability. Since Goldeen in the active has the Festival Lead ability, Thwackey can search the deck for a card. Pick a card, any card, the card that you need. As our players are chatting about that right now. So yes, this is good to go. Thwackey can search the deck for 1 other card. Looks like they're going to chain the Thwackeys here, potentially, as the first pick. But we'll see what our player decides on here. Yep. Search out another Thwackey, evolve it. Next Thwackey uses its Boom Boom Groove ability to search for a card. Maybe it was that rare candy in order to evolve that Fuecoco directly into that Skeledirge EX. The Skeledirge EX has the Incendiary Song ability. Discard a Fire Energy card, and attacks used by your Pokemon this turn do 60 more damage. You guys will see how that combos later on. For now, we're going to hit this third Boom Boom Groove to search for a third card from the deck, cherry picking their way to victory as best as they can here, finding that Seeking that's needed to evolve the active Goldeen. Let's see if they've got any more pieces to the combo here. And can they take down this Charizard EX, or they're just going to swing on it as hard as they can? Well, we shall see. There is the Earthen Vessel in hand, so that can find Fire Energy to buff Seeking's damage with the Skeledirge ability if they want, and it looks like they are going to at least play this Earthen Vessel, discarding a card in order to search the deck for 2 more Fire Energy. One of those Fire Energy gets discarded with Skeledirge EX's Incendiary Song, so Slowking is doing 60 more damage. Its attacks do 60 more damage this turn. As they shuffle up their deck and think about their next move here. I think there's nothing left to do but attack. Alright, so Seeking can attack twice here with its Festival Lead ability, Festival Ground Stadium in play. And remember, the Seeking does 60 base damage with Rapid Draw 2 cards, and then it can do that twice. And then, of course, its attacks do 60 more damage, so it's doing 120 damage base twice for 240, drawing 2 cards twice, drawing 4 cards, 240 draw 4. Pretty sure our Festival Lead player likes this interaction here. As we see the 2 attacks there, drawing 2 cards twice. What a combo. Luckily for our Charizard player, not enough to KO the 330 or so, however how much HP that Charizard EX has. And then during the Charizard's player turn here, both players discover that the Charizard player, remember, took 6 cards, drew 6 cards off of the Iono instead of the 4 that they should have. So they call the judge over. The judge assessed things, did some research, and then made a ruling, made a correction first. They were able to repair the board state so that way the players could continue playing at the cost of the Charizard player receiving a double prize card penalty. That means their opponent has to take 2 fewer prize cards to win the game. So I'm going to just skip forward to where action begins again after the fix. Luckily that everything was able to be repaired here, and we will just pretend like all is good and we'll move forward with the video here, aside from the fact that the festival lead player on the right hand side just has to take 2 fewer prize cards to win the game. They only have to take 4 prize cards to win the game because of the error of drawing 6 off of the Iono instead of 4 that the opponent did. Honest mistake. It happens, you know, and that's what the judges are here for, to help correct things, help keep the players happy, and playing more Pokemon cards, you know. So anyways, the play resumes on the left-hand side for our Charizard player, starting things off with an Arven. Remember, that supporter card allows them to search their deck for an item and a tool card. Forest Seal Stone seems to be the tool of choice here, as usual, I guess. And what item is needed for this situation? We'll see here as they search their deck, downloading as much information as they can in order to keep their lead in this game. Rare Candy and Forest Seal Stone grabbed off of that Arven. Forest Seal Stone gets attached to the bench Rotom V. Forest Seal Stone, of course, gives Rotom V the V-Star power ability Star Alchemy. When that V-Star marker is flipped, they can search their deck for a card. They search for that Pidgeot EX and evolve the Pidgeotto into the Pidgeot EX. Pidgeot EX has the Quick Search ability, which we're seeing right now. Once per turn, you could search your deck for a card. Lots of search here in this matchup with the Thwackey and the Pidgeot EX, as the player on the left, the Charizard player, uses Quick Search to search their deck for any card, the best card that they need for this situation. What will it be? Now, something the Charizard player can do here is evolve into the Duskull into, what's its name, Dusknoir, so that way they can put 13 damage on the opponent's side of the field. They can take out the bench Godine, then Charizard EX can KO the active Seeking, leaving the opponent with no main attackers in any form on their side of the field for their next turn, buying them a turn and potentially being able to run away with the game like that. Let's see if they have access to and go for that play. Rare Candy allows the Duskull to evolve into the Dusknoir. Okay, so they can do it if they want. Rare Candy now evolves the bench Charmander into Charizard EX. Charizard EX uses its Infernal Rain ability when it evolves to search the deck for up to 3 basic fire energy to attach to their Pokemon in any way they like. Just a single fire, I believe, pulled out of the deck and attached to that Charizard EX. Just depends on how many fire energy were left in the deck. We saw if you hit the discard early on. There is one in hand, luckily, and there's a Rescue Stretcher too. So the one in hand gets attached to the bench Charizard EX, fully powering it up. Oh man, we could even retreat the active Charizard and put a fresh Charizard in the active spot with that big play I was talking about. Alright, Dusknoir is using its Curse Blast ability. It knocks itself out, and then you can put 13 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Of course, the opponent takes a prize card for the Dusknoir getting knocked out, but remember, if they take out the Goldeen and then Charizard attacks the active Seeking, KOing and removing both of them from play, the opponent has no main attackers in play for their next turn at least. But it looks like the Dusknoir's Curse Blast is targeting that Skeledirge on the bench, fearing that a little bit more, I guess. And then the active Charizard KOs the opposing Seeking. So we'll see how this plays out for the player. Though I probably would have went the other route myself. Not that it was correct, but that's what I probably would have chose, was to Curse Blast the bench Goldeen, retreat the active Charizard EX that's heavily damaged into the fresh Charizard EX in order to take the KO on the other only fish in play. But we'll see how this plays out for our Charizard player as they take another prize card here. Goldeen, of course, swims into the active spot on the right hand side, and play will resume there. I'm not sure what's going on here, so I'll just move forward a little bit in this video. Okay, we saw some things happen. Goldeen in the active spot here, as our player on the right hand side starts their next turn by evolving that Goldeen into Seeking. Seeking is back. Fire energy attached to the active Seeking. And now Thwackey on the bench uses its Boom Boom Groove ability. Since there is a Pokemon in the active spot with the Festival Lead ability, that Thwackey can search the deck for any card that their trainer chooses. As they're taking a look at their hand, trying to better inform their decision of what cards to cherry pick out of their deck with these Boom Boom Groove. Eyeing up a fire energy potentially. Second Boom Boom Groove being used to pluck another card out of the deck. Eyeing up that Pow Pad to recycle some supporter cards, but actually looking for an energy retrieval instead. They could still get the Pow Pad if they wanted. It just depends on what's best for this turn. How to play very cleanly and optimally is definitely a skill in these trading card games here. As the player searches their deck for one last of any card that they want. So much power we are seeing here in round 1 of our league challenge. The KO on the active Charizard is there, I believe. So you really just want to get down another Goldeen, I think, if you can this turn, because that active Seeking is probably going to get KO'd, and you don't want to intentionally leave yourself without any form of your main attacker out for your next turn. Alright, so it looks like our 3 cards are decided upon with our triple Boom Boom Grooving going on here today. Okay, there it is, the Lana's Aid. That supporter card says put up to 3 in any combination of Pokemon that don't have a Roblox and basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. So that's how we can reestablish the Goldeen here with Lana's Aid, recycling things from the discard pile. Goldeen, Seeking, and basic fire energy being pulled out of the deck thanks to that supporter card. Added to the hand, Goldeen then instantly hits the bench again. Skeledirge uses its Incendiary Song ability to discard a fire energy. Seeking's attacks now do 60 more damage. We're just outputting this damage as much as we can here in this turn. As a Vitality Band gets put onto the bench, Goldeen boosting its attacks by 10. Man. Shuffling up and trying to decide what's the next move, aside from just an attack. Or 2 attacks, should I say. Thanks to Festival Lead and Festival Grounds. Alright, so Seeking will use its first rapid draw attack, 120. Yep, 120 base. I'm pretty sure that was enough to clean up the KO on the opposing Charizard. If it wasn't, let me know in the comments. I'm not gonna rewind and take up any more of your time in this video here. 2 prize cards there. Now the opponent gets to choose a Pokemon to promote, and then Seeking may attack again. Remember, that's what the Festival Lead ability says. If the first attack KOs your opponent's active Pokemon, you may attack again after your opponent chooses a new active Pokemon. So here, I probably would like to see the opponent promote something that could tank the hit and then retreat, leaving that, a full HP Charizard in the active spot. It may not matter because the opponent has 3 prize cards left, and there's a double prize card penalty going on where the Festival Lead player only has to take 1 more prize card to win the game, so that it may not matter too much here. But if it were a full game, I'd probably like to see the strategy of pushing this Pidgeotto EX with free retreat into the active spot, so that way it can tank, it can take 120 damage from the Seeking second rapid draw, thanks to Festival Lead. Then, when the turn starts, the Pidgeot has free retreat, so it could just retreat into the Charizard EX, leaving a fresh Charizard in the active spot, versus one that got punched with the rapid draw. But it looks like our opponent promoted the Charizard EX, so then the Charizard EX takes the second rapid draw attack for 120 damage. The Festival Lead player drawing 2 more cards as the effect of the rapid draw. That's so crazy. And then play resume over on Charizard's side on the left now. Let's see, 120 on it. Yep. So I think I'm following it okay. It's kind of hard with this newer deck, but we'll get there. And good to learn and grow the brain here, as Fezandipity EX gets put on the bench on the left-hand side, and it's got the flip the script ability, saying if your opponent took a KO on their last turn, you can just draw 3 cards. So flip the script, draw 3 cards here, see what you get before you use your Pidgeot EX quick search ability. See what you're working with. Professor Turo's in hand. Super Rod. Iono's pretty good. You can disrupt the opponent, but it's kind of hard to disrupt them when they can search for 3 cards that they want on their turn with those Thwacky there, along with the Goldeen on the bench, guaranteeing a Festival Leader in play in the active spot next turn. But they're going to go for a Super Rod. Our Charizard player on the left will, shuffling back into their deck some resources, Charizard EX and some energy. Next is a Night Stretcher that allows the player to bring back either basic energy or a Pokemon into their hand. And it looks like they're going to bring back a Charizard into their hand. The Charizard and I think 2 fire energy get shuffled back into the deck with the Super Rod, of course. I imagine we're going to see the Charmander hit the bench here. Our players playing it out. Love to see the sportsmanship here at League, whether it's a casual tournament or League Challenge. As the Charmander does hit the bench there. Next, Pidgeot uses its quick search ability, allowing the player to search their deck for any card that they want. No Duskull, and even if they were able to do a Dusknoir play, the opponent would just win instantly with the double prize penalty. So they grabbed something. I didn't see what they grabbed, but I'm sure we'll find out very shortly here. Countercatcher was the choice. That actually isn't live right now, sadly. Our Charizard player is a newer player as far as I know. So it's definitely anybody can lose track of these things and forget about the card interactions with all that's going on, especially against the new deck. So the Charizard will just use its attack to over KO the opposing Seeking. Taking another prize card, we're pretty close here in this matchup. Especially if there wasn't a double prize card penalty in play. but that Seeking will swim into the active spot on the right hand side and play will continue on there. Let's see if our festival leader can close out this game, evolving into a Seeking in the active spot here, attaching an energy to it, powering up its attack. And boss's orders will close the game out, bringing up the Budew with only 30 HP into the active spot. Seeking's rapid draw does 60 base, whether it's attacking twice or not. It's going to take one more prize card. Remember, the double prize card penalty says you can take, the person on the right can take 2 less prize cards to win the game. They did just that, taking down round 1 of our league challenge. What'd you think of this video and the commentary? Please leave feedback in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you to our players for letting their game be captured so we can learn and enjoy, and I'll see you next time in the Professor's Lab.